Hola mis estimados, en este esfuerzo personal por lograr la independencia económica explicando la historia militar, les presento el cuarto video en inglés en mi nueva página, exclusivamente en ese idioma. El cuarto video ha sido dedicado a la ofensiva alemana lanzada en la dirección de la ciudad de Kursk en la Segunda Guerra Mundial, en el año de 1943. Y en el mismo, veremos cómo la mejorada doctrina defensiva soviética de ese año fue fundamental para la victoria soviética. En este momento, el link a esa página aparece arriba, a la derecha, y el link a esa página también se hallará abajo en la descripción de este video. A continuación, les presentaré los 5 minutos iniciales de ese video en inglés, el cual es una muestra de lo que podrán encontrar en mi nuevo canal de YouTube. Y si les pareció interesante, me apoyarán enormemente visitando esa página, viendo ese video y suscribiéndose a la misma. Atentamente, Víctor Aguilar-Chang.
Hello. In the Second World War, a new way of conducting offensive operations struck the European theater like a lightning bolt. It was the Blitzkrieg, and with it, from 1939 to mid-1941, the German armed forces achieved enormous tactical, operational, and strategic victories. But then, first in late 1941, and then in 1942, the Blitzkrieg did not achieve the desired strategic victories. First, it was repulsed before Moscow, and then defeated at Stalingrad. But after the disaster at Stalingrad, the Germans reorganized their armies, and in the summer of 1943, unleashed them once again. It was Operation Citadel, launched against the Kursk salient, which seemed as an ideal target, as it was only 125 miles wide and had a depth of 93 miles. Ideal for a short offensive. The Germans expected to break through the Russian lines in the first day, in just a few hours. And once in the open fields beyond, in just a few days, they will reach the town of Kursk. Thus, with their victory, they will have shortened their eastern front lines, and another large chunk of Soviet armies would have been destroyed. But the offensive was already an uneasy gamble. The Germans neither had strategic, operational, nor tactical surprise. And to underscore that fact, a couple of hours before the German assault teams left their trenches, they came under an enormous Soviet artillery barrage. But beyond that fact, at 5:30 hours on July 5th, the German artillery opened fire, and an hour later, their combined arms assault teams left their starting points, confident that they will triumph. Leading the way were the new Tiger and Panther tanks and also big Ferdinand assault guns. Their heavy armor had to absorb Soviet anti-tank fire, and behind them were large groups of medium tanks and infantrymen, and they will destroy any defensive position that tried to stop them. In the northern sector, the 1,200 tanks and assault guns of the 3 Panzer Corps of the 9th Army attacked the Soviet 13th Army. To the south, the 1,500 tanks and assault guns of the 2 Panzer Corps of the 4th Panzer Army and the Panzer Corps of the Army Detachment Kampf pounded the Soviet 6th and 7th Armies. The offensive had begun. But even from the start, the German assault teams met much stronger resistance than expected. Of course, they were aware that Soviet soldiers would not yield easily. But this time, every town, every hill, every clump of trees, they were all strong points. and the German assault teams were not finding room to maneuver. Every attack route was blocked by obstacles, which in turn were covered by fire from every type of weapon. Every assault became a difficult task, and once a strong point was defeated, another was behind, and then another, and another. Therefore, for the first day of the offensive, the Germans failed to achieve the expected breakthrough, and that was totally unexpected. Let us go back a few months. The Soviets knew that the Germans were preparing a new offensive, and that it would fall against Kursk. Therefore, huge amounts of men and material were sent to the area. The northern sector was assigned to the Central Army Front, which had 5 infantry armies in front and 1 tank army and 2 tank corps as reserves. And the southern sector was assigned to the Voronezh Army Front, with 4 infantry armies in front and in reserve an infantry army, a tank army, 2 tank corps, and 1 infantry corps. And in those 2 army fronts, the Soviets